Hey folks, Pace here with Springbar. Today we're going to give you a look at the Classic Jack 140 tent and show you how to use the Springbar hot tent system using a Winnerwell wood burning stove. Now this is a 10 by 14 Springbar tent made entirely with our 10-ounce cotton duck canvas, signature wire stake loops, integrated shade awning, and beefy number 10 coil zippers on the doors and windows. Now the thing that sets the Classic Jack 140 apart from some of our other Springbar tent models is its versatility. It has 4 huge windows and a door, so you're going to get a lot of ventilation for warm weather camping, spring, summer, or fall. But for late fall or winter trips, when the weather turns cold, you can quickly adapt this tent to be compatible with a Winnerwell wood burning stove using the Springbar hot tent system.
A one-pot meal.
First, let's run through the required components. To properly and safely use the Springbar hot tent system, you're going to need the Classic Jack 140 Springbar tent, a Winnerwell wood stove, the Springbar zip-in stove jack accessory, a chimney support cable, 2 45-degree pipe sections, 1 double wall pipe section, the Winnerwell flashing kit, and a Winnerwell fireproof mat. Also note that all safety guidelines included with the zip-in stove jack accessory must be adhered to at all times. The first step is to install the flashing kit in the zip-in stove jack. The zip-in stove jack accessory includes a paper template for flashing kit installation. Detailed instructions are also printed directly on the template. Because different stove sizes exit the stove jack at different points, the zip-in stove jack includes a paper template to help you cut the hole in the correct place for your stove. Today we're going to set this stove jack up for the Nomad large stove. Cut the template along the dotted lines at the perimeter to create a triangle-shaped paper template that aligns with the zip-in stove jack. Then cut the template along the dotted lines indicating the position of the flashing kit ring that corresponds to your model and size of Winnerwell stove. Using a level workbench or surface suitable for cutting, position the template over the zip-in stove jack accessory. Be sure that the template is placed on the side of the stove jack that has the label "This side inside tent" to ensure correct hole placement. Using a pen or pencil, trace the flashing kit ring onto the stove jack accessory. Place the stove jack on a level workbench or surface suitable for cutting. Using a razor knife or good scissors, cut the hole in the stove jack following the line you traced and remove the excess material. Using the Winnerwell flashing kit, remove the steel ring from the back of the flashing kit by removing the wing nuts. Position the steel ring over the hole you just cut in the stove jack and mark the position of the bolts, 6 places total. Use a hole punch or similar device to create the holes for the flashing kit bolts. Install the flashing kit in the stove jack and secure it with the wing nuts. Make sure the flashing kit's rubber gasket is positioned on the side of the stove jack that will be outside the tent. The flashing kit's steel ring and wing nuts will be on the side of the stove jack that will be inside the tent. The next step is to install the zip-in stove jack in your tent. You'll want to start by taking out the removable sidewall window in the Classic Jack 140 tent using the 3 separating zippers. When you begin to install the stove jack, make sure the side of the stove jack that has the label "This side inside tent" is facing the tent's interior. Start with the 2 upper zippers that both begin at the top point of the triangle opening and attach to the corresponding zippers on the stove jack. Zip each approximately halfway, then attach the horizontal zipper at the bottom of the triangle opening to the corresponding zipper on the stove jack and fully zip to secure. Return to the 2 upper zippers and fully zip to secure. Secure the stove jack's interior protective flap to the base of the interior tent wall using the loops and toggles. Secure the smaller weather flap on the outside of the stove jack by aligning the Velcro patch on the flap to the Velcro patch on the exterior tent wall. Now you can set up your Winnerwell stove. Position the Winnerwell fireproof mat under the zip-in stove jack. Always use a fireproof mat when using a wood stove in your tent. Insert the airflow controller pipe section directly to the stove body. Then insert a 45-degree pipe section to the airflow controller. From inside the tent, slide the Winnerwell double wall pipe section approximately halfway through the flashing kit. Adjust the position of the stove body as required to align the 45-degree pipe section with the double wall pipe section. From outside the tent, insert a 45-degree pipe section into the double wall pipe section. Assemble the remaining straight pipe sections with the spark arrestor positioned at the top. Insert the assembled chimney pipe into the 45-degree pipe section. Then attach the Springbar chimney support cable. On the 45-degree pipe located on the outside of the tent and near the connection point to the double wall pipe, girth hitch the pipe using the bare loop on the chimney support cable. Run the loop on the opposite end of the cable over a tent spring rod just where it exits the T-fitting on the ridge pole assembly. Connect the S-loop to the tension slide and adjust until just snug to support the chimney pipe. Now you're all set to hot tent, but before we go, a couple of things to remember. We always recommend that you practice burning your Winnerwell stove out in the open before putting it in your tent or shelter. This is going to help you hone your fire starting technique and learn how to get good performance out of the stove. Also remember to always use good common sense fire safety precautions at all times and adhere to all safety guidelines included with the Zippin Stove Jack accessory.
How do the dumps look? Pretty. The dumpling is just like a gooey ball of glory.
Dude, that's pretty legit with that dumpling in there. That's crazy.